Well, hello there. Welcome to the Okanagan Forest channel. Today we're cooking up some venison steaks. It's an old family recipe. And we're using our Deadwood stove, which I'm going to talk more about as I get these steaks on the grill here, or in the pan. There we go. We're going to let those just sit there for a minute. What I wanted to talk about in this video is the value of the Deadwood stove to outfitters, to people who do outfitting, outdoor outfitting. Now, I'll tell you honestly that before I could drive, I knew how to tie a diamond hitch on a pack mule before I could legally drive a car. I'm no expert, but I have done packing in the mountains. I've done a lot of wilderness canoeing, and I dream about someday maybe taking a bush plane into the outback and having an opportunity to have some outdoor experience in a situation like that. I don't know if you've ever done it, but have you ever weighed the weight of a propane 5-gallon bottle? They're pretty heavy. Or if you've ever gone into one of those settings, have you used these things? And the problem with them is, once they're used, you're stuck with the canister and you got to haul it out. The great thing about the Deadwood stove is it burns on sticks or driftwood, yard debris, anything you can find. And even in northern Canada, where I've done some canoeing, this would have been a great option. We wouldn't have had to haul propane, and it would have worked very, very well. The other day I decided, well, I ought to weigh this stove and see how much it weighs. And it weighs just slightly over 14 pounds, and that's significantly less than the weight of a propane bottle. And you know, I like this stove so much. Whoops, dropping stuff in the ground here. A little impromptu. I like the stove so much that I got a second one. So there's the other stove. And it packs into a nice little bag. Take it out and you can kind of see it. There are the legs. Now, that would fit in a canoe. I can put that on the back of a mule. And guess what? Unlike those imported Chinese crockery rocket stoves, no mule is going to tear this up. You can put that in the bottom of a canoe, it would ride well. You can put it in an airplane, and I think it really would be a pleasure to use once you get there. So I'm just going to set that there so you can see it without the legs. I've got to turn over my meat anyway. Let's see how it's cooking. Oh boy, that looks good. That looks real good. Just turn those over like that. The interesting part of this recipe is that after we brown it good like this, we're gonna put some beer in there and let it cook a little bit more. But before we do that, I'm actually going to take the pan off for a moment. Only takes a minute. Be patient. Boy, good venison steaks. And I'm going to open this up. You can see it's burning pretty good. Put in a little bit more wood here. Make sure we've got plenty of, there we go, plenty of wood burning. Boy, the steaks smell good. Let me see here. There we go. Now, close that back up. Go ahead and put our pan back up on there. And there we go. You know, the important thing with this stove is you don't have to carry all that extra stuff. And you can use whatever you have on hand. Even in northern Canada where the trees are small. Just a few limbs and you can cook your dinner. And that's what we're doing here. There's really nothing to break. Nothing to leak. Nothing to create a lot of heavy waste that you have to haul out. Take a look at that salmon steak. You know what? If you are the outfitter for your deer camp or your elk camp, you need a Deadwood stove. Because when I go elk hunting, or when I went elk hunting in the past, one of the first things we did was spend a day or two before opening day cutting wood. But with this, you don't really need much. Just a little bit and you cook your meal and it works wonderfully. Very efficient. One of the things I like most about these stoves, once you buy them, that's it. You don't have to buy any more fuel. But the way those steaks look, it looks like they're getting pretty well done. So we're going to go to the next stage. Now here's the trick. Take a little beer. Look at that. A little beer. You can see that steaming up like that. There we go. I'm going to put that like that right there. We'll put that lid on. And we're going to let it cook for a little bit. Now I want to thank you for spending some time with me today. I really like these Deadwood stoves, and I think if you look at everything out there on the market, there's only one Deadwood stove. And by comparison to all those Chinese imports, this is a winner. And I want to tell you something. Nobody's paying me to tell you this. I'm not on the payroll of Deadwood Stove or anybody else. I just did my homework. And if you go to Okanagan Forest channel and take a look, you're going to see how I progressed from a little bitty hobo stove up to this Deadwood stove. And I love it. So I want to thank you for watching the video, and subscribe if you'd like. If you have any comments, I'd love to hear them. The recipe for this venison steak is going to be listed with this video when I put it up. And if you have any improvements on it, I'd love to hear from you. Happy trails, and you have a nice day. Okay, we're back, and we've been cooking on the Deadwood stove here. We've got venison steaks for deer camp or elk camp. And the idea, of course, is that this stove is really the most fantastic stove you could think of for an outdoor outfitter. But let's take a look at what's inside this pan. Go ahead and take this off. Oh, look at that. That just is absolutely spectacular. It doesn't get any better than that. Let me hold this up here so you can get a real good view of it. And that's just all cooked beautifully on the Deadwood stove. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that lid back on. And I'm going to set this guy. I love the cast iron. That's the best way to cook on these things. I'm going to set this guy over here for a minute, let him just slow down on his own time. And open up my lid for a moment. See if we can get some stuff to fit in there. Just a little burn. Give us some good fuel. And we're going to go to stage 2. Let's see how we're doing here. That should be good enough for a while. I'm going to put this other pan on here, and we're going to do something a little bit simpler. And give me just half a second. Put those hamburgers on there, and they'll start making all kinds of noise the way hamburgers do. You just watch. There we go. Got one left. Good thing I got a handkerchief in my pocket. Okay, we'll set this over here. I don't know, I want you to really see just how well this is cooking. You can see the flame coming up there. We've got a good strong flame, and that's creating heat. Our frying pan, of course, needs to warm up a little bit, but in a minute it's going to be going full speed. You can count on it. What haven't I told you today? As I look at this thing, it's built like a tank. There's really nothing to lose. You got 4 legs that attach, and other than that, everything's attached. You could put it on a mule, in a canoe, in a float plane, or in any remote location, and it's going to work just as beautiful as it does here. For all those preppers out there, this is a great bug out stove. Why? Because when you've got the stove, that's it. That's all you need. You ought to be able to start hearing those hamburgers crackle now as the pan's getting hot. And you can really cook. As I was saying earlier, I liked it so much I've got 2 of them. And ideally what you'd want to do is you'd have one cooking like this, have the other one set up just next to it, boiling water. And that is a perfect outfitter's camp for cooking all kinds of things. The only other thing you might need is some cast iron like this. And you're going to have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful focal point for your camp. Puts off a little heat, so when it's cold it's nice, but it doesn't put off so much heat so that when it's hot you feel like you have to wipe your brow to work on it. Let's have a look at those venison steaks while these hamburgers are cooking. Look at that. That looks good. And I know it is. Well, all this work on my Deadwood stove here has made me kind of hungry. So I want to thank you for coming by. I hope you got some good ideas here. Like I said before, we're not selling anything. We just hope you have a lot of fun in the outdoors. And I want to wish you well. Thank you very much. Leave comments if you'd like. Well, hello there. I'm back, and of course we're done cooking this venison steak on the Deadwood stove. It sure turned out nice. Really delicious. And that technique of putting a little beer in at the end and then cooking it slowly really softened it up beautifully. I would tell you could do the same recipe with beef or just about anything else. And the trick really is to have a good Deadwood stove cooking, and you do this in camp. Great way to make a wonderful meal as an outfitter for your clients or for the friends that you're camping with in camp. Now, you take care, and if you have any suggestions that you can give me, or you have any other improvements that you want me to do, please let me know. In the meantime, I'm going to finish my venison steak here and enjoy the rest of the afternoon and sit here by my Deadwood stove.